The story opens inside a corporate office where Linda arrives at her workplace and settles in, headphones on, completely buried in her work. Before she can get much done, a co-worker named Donovan stops by to collect a project he had previously asked her to assist with. Linda hands over the documents without hesitation, even though the task was technically Donovan's responsibility from the start. As he prepares to leave, Linda reminds him that she was supposed to attend the upcoming meeting. Donovan brushes her off, confidently assuring her he has everything under control, and walks away, leaving her sidelined once again. Elsewhere, a man named Chase is casually chatting with a woman he likes. When Linda tries to join the conversation, both of them shut her out without a word. Things turn even more awkward when Linda tries to pitch her idea of a fun place they could all hang out, and the attempt falls flat. Before the situation can go any further, Linda spots Donovan nearby and quietly slips away. Curious and suspicious, she secretly watches from a distance as Donovan presents her work to the board, taking full credit and blatantly removing her name from the project entirely. Later that night, in her apartment, Linda cooks herself a meal and talks aloud to her pet parrot, revealing a different side of herself, someone who once loved adventure and outdoor trips, but who now spends her evenings watching survival reality shows. She vents about the frustrating events that unfolded at the office, with her parrot as her only company. The following day, the company introduces its new boss, a man named Bradley. Linda, who happens to be eating at the time, accidentally drops her food and immediately rushes over, eager to make a good first impression, unknowingly with food still stuck near her lips. This quickly becomes a problem, as Bradley appears to have a strong aversion to anything unclean and is instantly unsettled by what he sees. Unfortunately, Linda remains completely unaware, confidently carrying on the conversation, and even proudly showing off her shoes, and he is visibly repulsed. Once Bradley settles into his office, he speaks with Franklin, who informs him about how his father previously ran the company and makes clear that Linda has been a crucial part of keeping things running smoothly behind the scenes. Bradley remains unimpressed. He is further disturbed when he realizes the food from Linda's face has somehow ended up on him, and he asks Franklin to smell it. Shortly after, Franklin informs Bradley about the promotion Linda was meant to receive, a decision his father had planned before passing control of the company to him. Bradley immediately shuts the idea down, making it clear he doesn't want Linda working anywhere near him. Instead, he orders her to be moved to a different area of the office and gives the promotion to Donovan, who turns out to be an old college friend. Not long after, Linda notices Donovan laughing and casually spending time with Bradley. Confused, she asks a coworker what is going on and learns the truth. Donovan got the promotion simply because he and Bradley were fraternity brothers, despite having only been with the company for 6 months compared to Linda's 7 years of loyalty. Furious, Linda storms straight into Bradley's office and confronts him about being overlooked. Bradley responds by asking her to close the door and take a seat. In a calm but cutting tone, he admits he is aware of how talented she is with numbers. However, he bluntly explains that he doesn't see her as executive leadership material. To make the moment even more humiliating, he casually points out that she still has food stuck between her teeth. Overwhelmed, Linda finally breaks down in tears. Seeing this, Bradley offers her one last chance. There is an upcoming merger deal in Bangkok, and if she can successfully make it work, he will rethink his decision. She will be traveling with him on the same flight. Just then, Bradley's fiancée enters the office and introduces herself to Linda as Zuri, polished and confident, everything Linda isn't. Before Linda can leave, Bradley stops her in an unnecessarily cruel way, publicly embarrassing her by criticizing her body odor and commenting on her eating habits, brushing it all off as a matter of professional standards. Linda exits the office, barely holding back tears. Once she reaches her car, she can no longer keep it together. She stares at her reflection in the mirror and tries to hype herself up and regain some confidence. The next day, Bradley, Donovan, and Linda head to the airport for the Bangkok trip. Determined to prove herself, Linda focuses entirely on the deal. On the plane, Donovan shows Bradley an old audition video Linda once filmed for a survival-style reality show. The two men laugh openly while Linda sits nearby, headphones on, working. Linda slowly realizes the laughter is directed at her and the video she made. The moment completely crushes her. Heartbroken and humiliated yet again, she quietly deletes the presentation she had spent so much time preparing. Out of nowhere, the flight is hit by violent turbulence and a flight attendant urgently instructs everyone to fasten their seatbelts. Instead of taking it seriously, Donovan and the others laugh it off. Moments later, chaos erupts. A section of the aircraft tears away, sending panic through the cabin. Donovan instinctively grabs onto Linda, while Chase clings to him from behind. As the situation spirals, Chase panics and bites Donovan, triggering a frantic struggle between them. Linda tries to help, but Donovan suddenly turns on her, grabbing her by the throat and desperately trying to take her seat to save himself. Acting on pure instinct, Linda grabs a fork and stabs his hand, causing him to lose his grip. Donovan is sucked out of the plane, his tie briefly snagging on the wreckage and leaving him dragging behind the aircraft before it ultimately crashes into the ocean. In the aftermath, Linda frees herself and fights her way through the flooded cabin, managing to reach the surface. She spends the night drifting alone in the open sea until luck finally intervenes. By morning, she washes ashore on a remote, jungle-covered island in the Gulf of Thailand, completely alone but alive. As Linda explores the island, she comes across Bradley lying unconscious, badly injured with a deep head wound and a damaged leg. She moves him to a safer spot. Sensing a storm building, she immediately shifts into survival mode, drawing on everything she had absorbed from all those survival shows she watched at home. She builds a rough shelter, makes a knife from a sharp rock, cuts leaves, and rigs up a system using coconut shells placed in the sand to collect rainwater. When night falls, the storm hits hard, but she stays alert and does everything she can to keep Bradley alive. Once the weather finally clears, Linda finds that the coconut shells have collected water, and she is overjoyed. Bradley regains consciousness, and she gives him water to drink. He is devastated to learn that Donovan is dead and that they appear to be the only survivors, but he thanks Linda for saving his life. She manages to start a fire, catch fish, and cook it over the flames. To her, the situation feels strangely thrilling, like she is finally living the survival show she used to watch. When Bradley refuses to eat, she eventually feeds him herself, pushing food into his mouth like she would with a child. As the days pass, Bradley slowly slips back into his old habits. He begins ordering Linda around, demanding signal fires and GPS solutions, and eventually attempts to stand despite his injured leg, injuring himself further in the process. When Linda rushes to help, he sharply tells her not to touch him and coldly reminds her that he is still her boss. Linda snaps. She gathers her supplies quietly and walks away, leaving him behind. Bradley assumes she will return soon, but instead he remains alone for 2 days, unable to move, exposed to the sun, and without water. When he is close to collapse, Linda returns and gives him water. She tells him plainly that they are no longer in the office and that he has no choice but to accept it. Linda later tells Bradley she has spotted tracks from a wild boar, and since they need more food, she makes a spear and heads into the jungle to hunt it. She tracks the animal until it suddenly charges at her from behind. Thinking fast, she fights it off, climbs a tree, and stabs it from above with the sharpened spear. The first strike isn't enough. When it charges again, she stabs it a second time, and even then it doesn't die. She eventually finishes it by stabbing it in the eye. She drags the kill back to camp and drops the boar's severed head beside Bradley, covering him in blood. She calmly tells him she might actually enjoy hunting. That night they eat the meat together, and both seem relieved and happy. Linda can't help but laugh at the irony of a man who once lived on fine dining, now surviving on raw boar. The following day, while exploring, Linda discovers a beautiful waterfall. She uses it to wash herself and drink, and spends a quiet moment looking at her reflection. While she is there, she spots a rescue boat passing in the distance. For a moment, she is ready to call out, but then she stops herself. She watches the boat disappear and quietly returns to camp without telling Bradley what she saw. She tells him only that she has found a new water source and shows him a bag she has made herself. Bradley is unraveling. 2 weeks have passed, and he is losing hope. He insists they build a raft and escape. When she doesn't go along with his plan, another heated argument breaks out. Determined to prove he doesn't need her, Bradley decides to do everything on his own. He attempts to build a shelter, but it collapses. He struggles to find food or water, deteriorating rapidly, and eventually resorting to eating insects just to survive. Meanwhile, Linda is thriving, securing food, water, shelter, and even homemade bug repellent. Eventually beaten and humbled, Bradley crawls back to Linda and apologizes for how he treated her, both on the island and back at the office. He begs her to forgive him and teach him how to survive, acknowledging that the only way they can both make it is to work together. Linda questions what she would gain from that. She eats while he watches. After making him reckon with his cruelty, she agrees to let him return so they can work together again. Linda takes him on a long hike up a towering mountain, teaching him survival basics along the way. When they reach the top, they are surrounded by nothing but endless ocean in every direction. On the way back down, Linda slips and nearly falls off a cliff, but Bradley reacts instantly and pulls her to safety. That moment changes something between them. The power dynamic shifts, and a genuine connection begins to form. That night, Linda brings out some homemade alcohol she has been fermenting for several days, and they drink together around the fire. They both end up drunk, sharing a rare and unexpected moment of honesty. The next morning, Linda wakes up hungover. While moving around the shore, she accidentally comes across Bradley bathing in the water and finds herself feeling attracted to him. Shortly after, a powerful storm rolls in and tears apart their shelter. They struggle against the wind and rain before eventually finding refuge in a cave. With their clothes soaked and temperatures dropping, Bradley suggests they hold each other for warmth. When Linda wakes later, Bradley is no longer in the cave. She finds him outside, where he says he wants to help rebuild the camp, this time in a higher location. Linda is genuinely pleased to see he seems more willing to adapt to their situation. They rebuild together. Sometime after settling into the new camp, Bradley tells Linda he wants to cook dinner for her so she can take a break. Linda agrees, and that night he prepares an elaborate meal while Linda even dresses up for the occasion. But as she eats, she suddenly feels dizzy and collapses. Bradley panics, then seizes the opportunity. Instead of helping her, he grabs the raft he had secretly been building and attempts to escape the island alone. As he leaves, he laughs and mocks Linda's survival skills. His plan fails instantly when a massive wave smashes the raft and he is thrown back onto the island unconscious. Despite still being sick from the poisoned food, Linda drags herself to him and performs CPR to revive him. Bradley eventually wakes up, overwhelmed with guilt. Despite everything, Linda still feeds him. She tells him she understands him now. He has never had to answer to anyone his entire life. Moments later, Bradley realizes he cannot move. Linda reveals she has fed him a blue-ringed octopus, which contains a powerful neurotoxin. The toxin will paralyze his muscles and take away his ability to feel or move, but it is not meant to kill him. He will remain fully conscious while his body becomes temporarily unresponsive. As the paralysis sets in, Linda uses the moment to stage a punishment. She heats a fork and begins cutting his manhood in an attempt to castrate him. Bradley is conscious but utterly unable to react. After letting the fear build long enough, she reveals that she has only been cutting open a dead rat. She tells him that next time it won't be a rat and warns him not to mistake her kindness for weakness. After a few days, with Bradley distant and barely speaking, Linda tells him she is going into the jungle to find some fruit to cheer him up. While she is out, she hears the sound of a boat approaching the island. When it reaches shore, she is shocked to see Bradley's fiancée, Zuri, along with the boat captain. Zuri rushes toward her and asks if Bradley is alive. Linda confirms that he is. As they begin heading toward him, Linda asks whether anyone else is part of the rescue mission. Zuri and the captain confirm it is just the two of them. Faced with the reality of being rescued and returning to her old life, Linda leads them toward the cliffside, claiming it is a shortcut. At one point, she lags behind, pretending to stop and tie her shoelace. As they move ahead, Zuri steps onto the same unstable section of rock where Linda once slipped. The ground gives way beneath her. The captain tries to pull her up and calls for Linda to help. Linda hesitates, then picks up a large rock and strikes the captain. He and Zuri fall to their deaths. Linda returns to camp afterward, visibly withdrawn. When Bradley suggests they go hunting, she refuses and says she needs a sick day. That night, while Bradley sleeps, Linda hears movement. She sees Zuri crawling out of the water toward her and lunges in a panic, only to wake up and realize it was a nightmare, though it leaves her deeply shaken. The following day, Bradley goes out hunting on his own. While searching near the shoreline, he notices an arm sticking out of the sand and recognizes it immediately by the large diamond engagement ring on the hand. It is Zuri's. He screams and races back to camp, confronting Linda and demanding to know what happened. Under pressure, Linda admits that Zuri is dead but insists it was an accident, claiming Zuri slipped while she was trying to lead her to Bradley. Bradley doesn't believe her. He remembers that Linda's husband also died in an accident. As Linda reaches for her knife, she realizes it is gone. Bradley already has it. She runs. He chases her into the jungle, and a violent struggle follows. Linda tries to strangle him with her shoelaces. Bradley fights back, ripping out chunks of her hair. Linda is partially scalped. She cuts him and he goes for her eyes. In a desperate move, she bites down hard and tears flesh from his body. During the chaos, she swallows Zuri's ring. When Bradley charges at her again, he is stabbed in the side with a knife. Injured, he escapes deeper into the jungle. Eventually, he stumbles upon a large mansion hidden near the cliffside, the very place Linda had warned him never to approach because of the poisonous vines surrounding it. He makes his way inside and pours himself a drink, thinking he is finally safe. Then he hears Linda's voice coming through the building's speaker system. She has been watching him through CCTV cameras. Panicked, Bradley begins smashing the cameras, but Linda continues speaking calmly from the control room. She confesses everything. She reveals that she could have been rescued long ago but chose not to leave. When she first spotted the boat from the waterfall, she had also discovered the mansion and learned the security code from the caretakers. She broke in, collected supplies like food and water, and kept all of it hidden from Bradley so she could maintain complete control over their situation. She admits she stayed because she wanted this life, and because she wanted Bradley with her. She also confesses to killing Zuri. Bradley reaches the room where Linda is waiting with a shotgun pointed at him. He breaks down, apologizing for everything he did to her. He tells her he loves her and that the outside world no longer matters to him. He suggests they stay on the island together forever. Linda tells him she loves him too and says he didn't have to make things so difficult. But as she looks around the room, she notices that one of the horns from a nearby statue is missing. She realizes Bradley has been hiding it behind his back. He lunges at her and manages to grab the shotgun. As he tries to shoot her, he finds out it isn't loaded. Before he can react, Linda pulls a golf club from the wall, knocks him to the ground, and beats him to death with it. Sometime later, Linda is living a completely different life. She has become a public figure after being rescued, presenting herself as the sole survivor of the crash. She has taken control of Preston Corporation, written a best-selling memoir offering survival advice built around the idea that no one is coming to help and that people must save themselves. And her story has gone so viral that it is even being adapted into a movie. In the final scene, Linda drives away with her pet parrot, singing along to the radio before turning to give the camera a slow, sinister look.